Gotta do this. To be honest, sorry.
Pat, can you hear me? This is Jennifer.
Hi, Councilmember. Yes, we can hear you. We will get started in just a couple minutes. We're waiting for everybody to settle in.
Okay, no problem. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Sorry I couldn't be there in person today.
Okay, thank you. You just press the button. And then when you're done speaking, just
Said I should. Oh.
You open, you run the first 2 weeks of January.
Good morning. My name is Councilmember Max White. I serve as the treasurer of Valley Metro. In the absence of our chair, Councilmember Odie Harris, and our vice chair, Jennifer Adams, they are online, but they would like us to conduct the operations of the meeting in person. So I will go ahead and convene the meeting and welcome members to the January meeting of Valley Metro. Joint boards, Valley Metro Rail. I would like to also welcome our new board members, the City of Goodyear Councilmember Wally Campbell, Maricopa County Supervisor Steve Gallardo. I don't know if he's
Not yet.
here with us. He's probably en route. We also have Town of Queen Creek Councilmember Brian McClure, City of Surprise Councilmember Earl Greenberg, and Town of Wickenburg Mayor B.G. Bratcher. Welcome to Valley Metro. We look forward to working with you together to improve public transit across the region. Pat, we are ready for our roll call.
Morning, everyone. City of Avondale, Council Max White.
Present.
City of Buckeye, Vice Mayor Clay Goodman.
President.
City of Chandler, Vice Mayor Odie Harris. I believe he's trying to join via WebEx. City of El Mirage, Councilmember Monica Dorsey.
I'm here.
Town of Fountain Hills, Councilmember Peggy McMahon.
Here.
The town of Gilbert is not represented today as they are selecting a new representative for the board. City of Glendale, Vice Mayor Lauren Tomlichoff.
Here.
City of Goodyear, Vice Mayor Wally Campbell.
Here.
Maricopa County Supervisor Steve Gallardo. City of Mesa, Councilmember Francisco Heredia.
Here.
City of Peoria, Councilmember John Edwards. City of Phoenix, Councilmember Laura Pastor.
Here.
Town of Queen Creek, Councilmember Brian McClure.
Here.
City of Scottsdale, Councilmember Kathy Littlefield. City of Surprise, Councilmember Earl Greenberg.
Here.
City of Tempe, Councilmember Jennifer Adams.
Here.
City of Tolleson, Councilmember Jimmy Davis. And Town of Wickenburg, Mayor Bratcher. Okay, Chair, we are ready to proceed.
Thank you so much, Pat. If a committee member would like to ask a question online or make a comment, please make sure you type that into the box or raise a hand. We'll take a look. Pat's monitoring that for us. And we will be able to read that and answer it if you're unable to do so. All attendees and those of us at the dais, please remember to mute your microphone when you are not speaking. We're moving to item number 1, public comment. The public will be provided with an opportunity at this time to address the committees on non-agenda items and all action agenda items for the joint RPTA and Valley Metro meeting agendas. Up to 3 minutes will be provided per speaker unless the chair allows more at their discretion. A total of 15 minutes for all speakers will be provided. Pat, do we have any public comment?
Yes, Chair. Mr. Hines, you can approach the podium for the comment.
Welcome. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the board, good morning. It wasn't until I got my May flyer with my water bill that I found out that there was going to be a change in the fares system for the public transit. So I wrote a letter to your CEO on May 20th expressing concerns. It wasn't until after I attended the September meeting here and addressed the board that I got an answer. I found that the letter I got didn't address my concerns, so I sent a follow-up letter on October 9th. I still have not received an answer to that letter. It wasn't until that meeting that I found out that senior citizens getting a reduced fare have to actually register to get the reduced fares, which disturbs me greatly. When I completed my active duty in the United States Navy and transferred to the reserves, I was assigned to Naval Security Group 11-8. The same time I enrolled in Phoenix College, and as part of one of my courses, I read George Orwell's 1984. I'm very concerned that in order to continue to use the senior fare, I'm going to have all my activities tracked by the card I'm going to have to use. I doubt there's many of you who have not received a notice from some company or another that there's been a data breach and your information is taken by somebody. I urge you to figure out some way that senior citizens continue to get the reduced fare and remain anonymous. The concerns I expressed in my initial letter because of what I experienced with Los Angeles's Metropolitan Authority, Transit Authority. They also allow people to register as senior citizens, but it's not a requirement. I can travel in Los Angeles anywhere one way for 75 cents, 35 cents off hours, and remain anonymous. I urge this board to figure out some way that senior citizens don't have to sell their soul in order to be eligible to the reduced fare. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your commentary, Pat. Do we have any additional public comments?
Yes, Chair, Mr. Blue Crowley today.
Mr. Crowley?
Thank you,
Morning.
ma'am. It's going backwards. I have here your agenda, and I love that in the transit part of it, you have the plan. And it says here, request current events and suggest future agenda items. That's your plan. I'm hoping that you look back at what we left you and redo all the parts that were dropped rather than deleted or deleted instead of delayed, and get some of this back to what it should have been with the plan from the 80s. But going to your item 6 on the joint, and it's the subject is planning support, on-call contracts, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm looking at the numbers and I'm looking at all the things that it's doing, and I'm going, and you're going to spend $21 million on this, and where are you getting the funds? Because none of those funds for the rail projects can come out of the prop of, what is it, 489? Because the only monies you have from them are for maintenance, and it's only 3% of the totality. But as we both know, the MAG plan is what? Oh yeah, you guys coming up with future agenda items. But as I said, when I'm looking at it and then I see what it is that it's going to be doing, planning support, et cetera, and all these rail projects, I'm going, well, you guys have to pay for that through the cities. You can't use any of these funds. So I don't see where you're doing that here. All I see is blank checks and open numbers, and $21 million, and it's for planning and that for rail projects. Well, most of that is rail. So y'all need to bifurcate the agencies so that the funds aren't being convoluted and you're not stealing from the buses. The rail has done all the 26 years that it's been going on. Because how many times did I come up here and say, why isn't this being done? And it was because they had been dropped. But did you keep on adding more and more of the transit money to the rail? Sure did. And look what we ended up with. So if you could, when you come to item 5 on the dual, could somebody say, hey, let's make sure that the funds paying for this are done correctly? Because you can't convolute both of the agencies now with those funds. And with that, I'll give you 5 seconds of your lives back. Have a pleasant.
Thank you. Pat, any additional public comment?
No, Chair.
Thank you very much. We will move on to item number 2, Chief Executive Officer's Report. Jessica Medford-Miller will be providing us this update. Good morning, Jessica.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning and welcome to all members of the board, new and returning. Special welcome to Councilmember Greenberg, Vice Mayor Campbell, and Councilmember McClure, who is joining us virtually this morning. I'm Jessica Medford-Miller. I'm our CEO here at Valley Metro. It has been my pleasure with the leadership of this board to lead Valley Metro since April 2022. At the top of every meeting, I provide the board with a brief informational update on goings on at Valley Metro that don't otherwise appear on the agenda for information or action today. These items are informational, and I'm always happy to share any updates specific to member communities if you'd like to ping me and make that request. Next slide, please. So my first update, I want to share progress on a forthcoming project in the West Valley. West Valley, as all of you know, is a fast-growing community. Today, we deliver service including fixed route bus, commuter express service, paratransit, ride choice, and several of our West Valley member communities also deliver microtransit service. Today, we're operating services outside of microtransit, which is being contracted through the cities at the moment, but we're operating that through a leased facility through our contractor, that's National Express. We're also soon to begin a procurement process for the next phase of operations and maintenance of all of our on-street services for West Valley. And when I say on-street services, I mean that commuter service, local service, and paratransit, and eventually microtransit services. We need a home for this service. And to that end, we've been having conversations for a number of years about a West Valley operations and maintenance facility. Through our planning and support services on-call contract, we have issued a task order to STV. They are working as an extension of Valley Metro team to conduct a feasibility study for this West Valley operations and maintenance facility. It consists of 4 discrete phases. The first was service level evaluation, and we did work with our West Valley member communities to assess how much service we think will be delivered in the West Valley market in the foreseeable future across all of those different modes. And then from that, we conduct an exercise called facility programming. So how many vehicles, what type of vehicles, what size are they going to be? What footprint does that require for us to maintain those vehicles, dispatch them, and the workforce that supports them? And that is now complete. The step that we're taking now is the site selection analysis. So we're looking at a wide array of potentially available parcels that would support the footprint that would be required. The next step is conceptual design, in which we'll begin with a site agnostic conceptual design of an operating facility, and then provide conceptual design for 3 different sites that are to be emergent from that process. And the purpose of this exercise is to give us a solid cost estimate, a location feasibility assessment, because location matters, whatever business you're in, but we want to get that location as close as possible to the core of our market so that we minimize the amount of time those vehicles have to travel into and out of service to their ultimate routing destination. And we do this to come up with this cost and conceptual design that's going to position us to compete for funding for the design and construction of this facility. There are a number of funding opportunities, including Federal Transit Administration's bus and bus facilities funding program, as well as other competitive and formula funds that we can potentially avail ourselves of with this design and plan. And all of those programs require a local match, and federal participation typically varies for projects like this of 80% to 50%. Obviously, we are going to seek the maximum federal participation to bring this facility home. It is too soon for me to provide you with an estimate of when we might be able to construct it, as it is contingent on funding. As we move through milestones, we'll continue to keep this board and, of course, our member community staff updated. Well, Happy New Year, and it was a very Merry Christmas over the holidays for Valley Metro. For several years, we have hosted the Mesa Santa Express. We hosted Santa Express over a 3-day period, December 13th through 15th. And we had over 2,000 members of our community arrive. Many of them received their first light rail ride. This is a totally free experience, and I commend the Valley Metro staff who volunteer their time over the course of that weekend, along with our partners within the city of Mesa, to have a wonderful time. It is my hope that with the opening of the South Central Extension later this year, we will also have a very merry holiday season at our new southern terminus at Central and Baseline. Think holiday 2025, Councilmember Pastor. We look forward to that. We also ring in the new year for the 10th year in a row with the Coors Light free rides on New Year's Eve. We experienced 66% more rides on New Year's Eve this year than we did last year. Through this partnership, which also exists in a number of other cities in the United States, Molson Coors pays the fare for transit customers accessing the system. We're grateful for that partnership and another wonderful opportunity to introduce occasional riders to the Valley Metro system. We're continuing to update the board on our fare collection modernization program. I am pleased to share that we have made tremendous progress since our last update in the month of December. We began rolling out the new fare media at the end of October, and right now we're carrying about 60,000 boardings per weekday. That's about half of our regular weekday boardings on bus and light rail, using smart card programs, including copper cards, any of our fare passes that we have with select institutions, as well as the Valley Metro mobile application. We have sold or distributed over 16,000 copper cards, and 50,000 have been relocated through our third-party retail partners. This is a really important part of our distribution network. Circle K is our biggest retail partner. We work with Albertsons, Safeway, Food City, Bashas', CVS, and Walgreens. These cards can also be reloaded online or at ticket vending machines at our light rail stations. But remember, most of our customers, 75% every day, are beginning their trip with Valley Metro at a bus stop. And so it's important that within their neighborhood, they're able to reload the card and without internet access. We have put 111 fare vending machines into service along our light rail corridor. We're also installing those fare vending machines on the South Central extension. We are continuing to work on our plans for continued education and long-term outreach. You heard from Mr. Hines this morning regarding our senior fare. We are, for the first time, requiring registration for individuals to obtain reduced fare. Prior to this, anybody, regardless of their age or ability, could choose to purchase a reduced fare at their discretion. It made it really difficult for us to enforce our fare policy. Looking south, I am pleased to provide an update. We are moving very fast on the South Central extension in downtown. Valley Metro Rail Board has a couple of items on South Central on the agenda today. We are over 95% complete. We remain on track to open the project in mid-2025. And the photos here show art along the corridor. We worked closely with the city of Phoenix and with our business and retail partners on South Central to complete milestones, including paving work and signage by December 15th, so that they could welcome their patrons back to the South Central corridor for shopping, dining, and community festivities in the holiday season. So you see holiday decorations that were installed by City of Phoenix. On the right, that is an aerial photo of our Central and Baseline station. This is our new terminal station in the south, where we also have a park and ride lot at that location. This will also be a substation for Valley Metro security. Recent milestones, and I mentioned the reduction of barricades. So prior to that mid-December date, we still had a whole lot of orange barricades on the South Central corridor. It really looks and feels like a rail corridor today. It's not quite there, though. We've largely transitioned to electrical work in the corridor. We have very active testing. We had a testing program out on the system today. Our staff just wrapped up. I see Adrian Ruiz, our Director of Safety and Security, just came in from the field to join us this morning. And next week, we're celebrating a big milestone on January 29th. We are going to operate our first train over the Salt River Bridge into the South Central portion of the corridor. So it's a big deal. We look forward to that. We have also installed artwork at every station. We're continuing to install art pieces on our windscreens and our traction power substations. But because art is such an important part of all of our construction programs, and I think the artwork in this corridor is especially evocative of the spirit of this community. I want to highlight the artwork on the left. That is Resilient Light. That is by artist Isaac Caruso. And that's at our Sherman Signal Building. This recently made the news, so you might have seen it. It's a beautiful piece. And on the right, we have artwork at Central and Baseline. This sculpture is the Mother of the Water, and our artist is Zarco Guerrera. So we'll be featuring more art in the months and weeks leading up to the opening. Our pre-revenue operations, this is when we actually start to run test trains. So it really does look and operate like an open rail alignment, just without the customers. That begins between downtown and Sherman Loop in the month of March. Though it opened in January of last year, it's hard to believe almost a year has passed since we opened Northwest Extension Phase 2. We continue to receive awards for this fantastic project. We had to use a small font here because Northwest 2 has received so many awards, but I want to call out a couple in particular. Earlier this fall, this project won the Engineering News Record Project of the Year for the Southwest region. It's a big deal. We won in several categories, but ultimately swept the big award. And so that means this project will compete in the spring for Project of the Year. It's one of 20 finalists in the United States for Engineering News Record Project of the Year. So I commend the team that delivered that, the Valley Metro team, our designers, Jacobs, and our contractor was a joint venture between Kiewit and McCarthy Construction. So well done. That concludes the updates I wanted to share with you. Just looking ahead, we'll be back in this boardroom on February 20th. We'll have a busy agenda on that day. I think one of the items of note that I want to call out, in particular, 2 items. We will have mid-year budget adjustments for Regional Public Transportation Authority and Valley Metro Rail. And we will also come to the full board seeking award for a new contract for fare inspection and security services. Then in March, we're hoping to conduct a joint board meeting. The board meeting, based on anticipated agenda, we expect to be relatively brief. We'd also like to use that opportunity to come together as a board in a retreat fashion. So we'll have a number of study session-esque focused agenda topics. If you have an item that you would like to discuss at the March 20th board retreat, please share that with Pat Dillon or with me so that we can consider that when we're working with the chair and board members to curate that agenda. We look forward to the retreat. I think it's a wonderful and important time for us to come together and get your direction on the year ahead. That concludes my update, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much for the wonderful report and all the hard work that you've done, Jessica. Do we have any questions for our CEO, Ms. Medford Miller?
I do. It's exciting to hear about the South Central light rail. And I guess what I want to ask is, when is opening date? Because there in the community is many different speculations.
We don't have an opening date set yet. We typically don't set that date until we are about 45 days out. The opening, the end of construction and our target date internally is in late May of 2025. And then the opening date really the scheduling becomes more centered around calendars and schedules for all of our many partners who would be coming to that celebration.
Okay, so let me rephrase my question. When is the completion of the South Central light rail?
Our current contracted completion date is May 30th, 2025.
Okay, So from May 30th, 2025, then it's 45 days from there that possibly could be an opening date.
No,
Or-
we wouldn't be able to open it before that time. So that's the target that our contractors queue it, also our teams who are conducting all of our pre-revenue operations and testing. So it'll be very close to that date. About a month and a half out, we'll land on the exact day. You know, is it a Friday? Is it a Saturday? Things like that.
Okay, so let me, for the record, is anticipated to be completed May 30th?
It is.
So are you saying from May 30th, you go backwards to 45 days or you go forward to 45 or 40?
It would be pretty close to May 30th.
Okay,
So
so the anticipated date, I'm just trying to get it for the community because it was supposed to be February, it's supposed to be May, it's supposed to be now thinking August. I want to land and I want to be able to, those that are completing this project understand that that's a hard date.
So all of those completing the project and the teams who are involved in testing understand very well, this is a hard and fast
Okay.
date. The celebration again becomes more a matter of the festivity planning and dignitary visits than the actual construction or completion. So we wouldn't be able to pull a celebration back and actually open for revenue service into early April. For instance, we won't be ready and the testing won't be complete. Likewise, we don't want to complete and then have that linger. And obviously, we're pushing into the summer months once we get to May 30th. So it's going to be right around that time.
Okay. And then my second question is, I have heard from community of several issues that they're having with regarding the light rail. Have those questions been answered or has it been resolved? Because my understanding that they have requested certain things and they were answered, but I wanted,
So to my knowledge, all of the inquiries or questions we've received, as well as all of the complaints and negative impacts we've received have been addressed. We do also through the Construction Advisory Board, and we have one that just wrapped up for the northern portion of the corridor. The southern portion of the corridor Construction Advisory Board is continuing through at least April, and then we'd like to replace it in a different forum. But in that meeting, we review all of the concerns and complaints that have come in, their resolution and the resolution time. So we do that on an ongoing basis so that to answer your question, have we resolved and answered? The answer is yes.
okay. I just know several of the members on that committee are part of some of these concerns.
They are, yeah. And we've received a couple of fairly detailed letters and we have responded to those in kind, addressing each of the concerns.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. This is Jennifer Adams.
Go ahead, Councilmember Adams.
Yes, I just, was reading about, the businesses along the south side. And Laura, I'm not trying to get into your lane. I'm trying to help your lane go
Okay.
forward.
I'm fine.
So just that they were, going out of business. There was a long time, Western store that's going out of business because he's lost so much business. Aren't we helping those businesses with financial aid? Because I know we did that with light rail in Tempe. So I'm just wondering how we can help those businesses out.
Thank you for your question, Councilmember Adams. Hillary Foos, our Director of Communications and Strategic Initiatives, is coming to the podium, and she can address the Small Business Assistance Program that we are delighted to administer on behalf of the City of Phoenix. City of Phoenix is actually the funding entity for the Small Business Assistance Program. Hillary.
Thank you. Madam Chair, members of the board, Councilmember Adams, thank you for the question, the opportunity to talk about it. The answer is yes. We have, for the first time ever, Valley Metro and the City of Phoenix embarked on what we call the Small Business Financial Assistance Program. It's been in existence for 5 years, basically across the primary years of construction of this project. There are 2 tiers of funding based on the application process and also based on the funding. Both funding sources come from the city of Phoenix. We have a tier 1 available to businesses that gives them $4,500 a year. And then we also have tier 2 that's up to $9,000 also available to businesses each year. The eligibility really focuses on supporting those small, micro, locally owned businesses adjacent to the construction corridor where their foot traffic, patron traffic has been impacted by our construction project. And that program, we just opened year 5 of that funding program in January, and to hopefully deplete and use and provide to the businesses all of the available funding.
Well, I guess I would direct my second question then to Laura. Laura, how do you feel it's going down there?
It's, I would say it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle. This whole construction's been a struggle. It's been under COVID. Businesses have been hit by COVID and the construction, and it's been challenging. And so we will hear from businesses. Businesses are leaving due to the situation that we're in. So, but the business assistance piece does help. It's just not a long-term solution. It's really a short-term solution of impact. So, but I think that's probably, I mean, that's what we as a board have to realize when we do these big projects, what the impact is on community, positive and negative, and what is best for the greater good. So I think that's where we probably have to really look at in the future, these type of impacts on small businesses and how we need to bring stronger business capacity for those areas, and really probably preparing earlier in advance those businesses as they live through the impact that they're facing. So.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I have one more. We heard a testimony at call to the public. I would just like somebody to address those concerns and be able to assist in the senior piece and the documentation piece. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Dane Riles, our manager of FAIR programs, is here to speak with Mr. Hines.
I think to tag on to that, I do understand the integrity of the process. I, might have gray hair, but not yet be eligible for senior, but think the gray hair brings me to that senior pricing. So I understand the reason for the request, and I appreciate us being able to support our seniors in every way possible. So thank you very much. Without further questions, we will move on to item number 3, Audit and Finance Subcommittee update. Councilmember White, AFS Chair, will provide this update. Thank you so much, Madam Chair.
Your favorite people.
Right, I'm talking to myself about myself, right? Thank you so much for entertaining me, everyone. During the Audit and Finance Subcommittee met on Thursday, January 9th. We received an update from our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Kessler. We also had FY25 first quarter budget review presented to us by Mr. Olson. These were for information. We took action on our minutes. We also went into executive session to review the cyber training audit information. We then had a report from our internal audit chair. We took action on the audits that we received from Ms. Beckstrom, and we also took action on our travel expense and reimbursement audit results. If there are any questions about internal audit or any concerns in regards to our finance and budget, those staff members are on site today. Our next meeting of the Audit Finance Subcommittee will be on Thursday, February 6th at noon. Are there any questions for me? Thank you very much. So we will now move to item number 4, consent agenda. The consent agenda is presented for action. Please take a look at the consent agenda. Are there any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
Move approval of the consent agenda?
Second,
We have a motion by Councilmember Tonelchoff. We have a second by Councilmember Edwards. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposition? Nay? The motion carries. Moving to agenda item number 5, planning support services on-call contract extensions. I'll turn this back over to our CEO, Ms. Medford Miller, to present this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to invite Trevor Collin, our Chief of Capital Development, to the podium to briefly review and introduce this item to you. As a matter of background, the Planning and Support Services on-call contract is a mechanism that we use to deliver mostly planning and design work, also professional services work. The West Valley facility feasibility study that I mentioned earlier is being conducted through this contract mechanism. We are here today to discuss exercising the option years included in the original contract with the 10 qualifying firms. I will also tell you that use of on-call contracts is an item that will be discussed at our forthcoming March study session as requested by our chairs. Mr. Collin.
Thank you, Jessica. Madam Chair, members of the board. The item before you is to exercise 2 one-year options through the Planning Support Services contract. As Jessica mentioned, there are 10 firms. They are listed here. We started this contract after board award in July of 2022. The 3-year base term comes to an end at the end of this coming June 30th, 2025. And based on the performance and based on the efforts that we have going with the firms on this on-call, the recommendation is to exercise the last 2 one-year options. It's presented before the joint boards of directors. Also, as Jessica mentioned, we support both rail and projects with these on-call contracts. In addition to the West Valley Bus and Paratransit, these contracts have been key in supporting our zero-emission fleet strategy and other projects. Of course, they do support large capacity light rail and streetcar extensions as well. In addition to exercising the 2-year option, the 2 one-year options, we are also requesting additional expenditure authority to cover the efforts over those 2 years. The numbers in support of that are shown here. I won't go through all of them, but we basically look at our existing expenditures and we project. We did deduct what we anticipate to have in existing authority remaining by the end of June and added that deduction into our projection. So we are requesting an additional $21 million in expenditure authority for a total overall contract authority of $51 million. I'm happy to take any questions, Madam Chair.
Point of order, do we have to have a motion on the floor before we have discussion?
You can take questions, but you should call for discussion once the motion is also, so you can do it once or twice.
Are there any questions? Any questions online from our participants? I do have a question. I know this is going to kind of run into the time frame where those West Valley cities that are using We Ride, we welcomed Peoria this month. We're going to have to look at a business plan to hopefully transition from managing it in the cities to Valley Metro. Will that contractor be one of these here? Is that what we're going to be able to use these contractors for to help us get that business plan prepared?
Thank you, Council Member. We actually have a draft scope of work for that business plan. We've been working closely with our member communities. Much of the work would be, for that particular effort, would be completed in-house by Valley Metro. We would also likely engage planning support, and that would come through this contract. So in addition to design services, we are also leveraging this contract for planning services. We're using this right now, for example, to assist in development of bus circulation planning in advance of opening the downtown hub here in Phoenix, which comes after opening of South Central Extension. We also used this contract vehicle, actually, no, wait, that was a competitive procurement. But we do use it for smaller planning services that we need to bring in-house support. The signature authority that I have is too low to typically cover these, and these on-call contracts help fill in that resource need.
Any additional questions? With no additional questions, I'll request a motion.
Move approval of the planning and support services on-call contract extensions.
Second.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Tommeltoff, a second by Councilmember Pastor. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, aye.
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 Any opposition, nay? The motion carries. Thank you. Moving to item number 6, travel expenditures. This information, item number 6, travel expenditures. This information was presented in our meeting packets. Hopefully, we've all had the opportunity to review it in detail. If there are any questions from the committee, please reach out to Valley Metro staff and they will be able to follow up with you directly. This item is presented for information only. Moving now to item number 7, reports on current events and suggested future agenda items. I'd like to turn to our members who are online first to see if there are any current events or future agenda items you'd like to suggest for the joint board. Inside here on the dais. Seeing none, we'll move to item number 8, next meeting. The next meeting of the joint boards is scheduled for Thursday, February 20th at 11:15 a.m. and we will adjourn.
Everyone, this is Pat. For our new board members that are on the WebEx, if you could please stay on for the RPTA meeting. And then at the conclusion of that meeting, you're free to log off. And then we will have the Valley Metro Rail board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Again, I just want to wish the best of health to our chair, Odie Harris, who is online. I am taking the seat today just to ensure that we can conduct the meeting from the dais. As we call this meeting to order, we have item number A, consent agenda. This item is presented for action. Hopefully everybody has had an opportunity to review the consent agenda. I will now entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I so move.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Pastor, a second by Councilmember Tommeltoff. Any discussion, corrections, revisions? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposition, nay. The motion carries for consent agenda. Item number 2, report on current events and suggested future agenda items. We will start in the room. Any current events or requests for future agenda items?
I don't know if I want it here or in the next meeting. Here?
Go on the Valley Metro Rail.
Yeah, and you guys can tell me where it belongs. I would like to look at and us have a working plan on, I've been sitting on this for quite some time, but to build a community engagement plan and what it really looks like to do community engagement on our projects. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because there are several projects happening in my district that I think a guideline, a plan on how you do community engagement within different sectors of our cities, because it's different engagement in different parts of the cities. So I don't know where that goes.
I think that might go to the joint board because we
Okay.
have some rail-only projects, but we also have a great many bus projects
Okay.
as well. That is my suggestion.
So Michael, how do I do that? Do you
It's,
have a-
it's included in the record now.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Oh, Councilmember, would you like us to come back to you with a proposed date for that item? It might perhaps be a study session.
I think it should be a study session. Because there's smaller cities, there are big cities, there are different type of districts, at-large districts. There's such diversity, and how the outreach is done is different in different parts. So probably a study session so we can flesh it out and talk about it.
I think that'd be great. We will prepare, we'll get back with you with a proposed date and maybe a framework or outline for your feedback.
Any additional items? I would like to share that we've had an awesome milestone for the West Valley cities of Goodyear, Surprise, and Peoria and Avondale. We have surpassed 200 passengers served across the West Valley on We Ride. So I just wanted to, thanks for the partnership. Thanks to all the cities who have come to the table to support We Ride. It's an awesome opportunity for people to take, kind of that micro transit feel at a low cost, and just bringing the words of my mayor to the table. What began as a post-COVID pilot program of placing our Zoom, our neighborhood circulator, has evolved into an essential transit service that connects Avondale and West Valley residents to their destinations efficiently and reliably. So just want to again thank you for the partnership and share that big milestone that we're all celebrating, and also highlighting the fact that here at the dais outside of Laura Pastor, this is a West Valley crew today. So like to shout out my West Valley cities and give as much love as possible to Phoenix, because we're sitting in Phoenix, but this is like a once in a lifetime thing. So Odie, thank you for staying home today, sir. We needed that. We needed that. Thank you, all you West Valley staff members out in the crowd there. We appreciate you in Phoenix. You get some love too. Hearing no other current events or future agenda items, just again welcoming our new members. Our next meeting, we're moving to item number 3. Our next meeting is going to be Thursday, February 20th, 2025 at 11:15 a.m. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much for your participation. Just putting down the gavel. We're going to go ahead and transition into Valley Metro Rail. Thank you very much. I'm available when you need me.
I know, only member cities.
Hey, Pat, this is Councilmember Heredia.
Chair Heredia, we can proceed when you're ready.
Okay, perfect. I'm assuming everybody's either online or I think Laura is there.
Yes.
Um,
I'm
okay,
here.
perfect. All right,
Okay.
and
And I'm here.
Councilmember Adams. Okay,
Yes,
perfect.
yes,
Thank
perfect.
you.
Thank you.
All right, well, we'll get started with the Valley Metro Rail meeting. Thank you. First item is the consent agenda presented for action. Any of the members have any questions or items that you want to separate? All right, hearing none, request a motion and a second to approve consent agenda items 1A through 1D.
Okay, I so move.
I moved by Councilmember Pastor and second by,
I'll second.
all right, Councilmember Adams. All in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes. Item number 2 is the Rio East Dobson streetcar extension, locally preferred alternative. So I'll pass it over to Jessica to introduce this item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning. I'm going to invite Trevor Cullen, our Chief of Capital Development, to the podium for items 2, 3, and 4. Actually, this item is to request board approval of the locally preferred alternative or the path or route for the Rio East Dobson streetcar extension, which would operate through the cities of Tempe and Mesa. I should mention that this locally preferred alternative was recently approved by the councils of both the city of Tempe and the city of Mesa. Mr. Cullen.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, I'll orient you with this map. The Tempe streetcar, which is in operation and opened in 2022, is shown in the green on the left part of the map. The extension that is before you today is the Rio East Dobson extension, which basically continues east near Sun Devil Stadium along Rio Salado through Tempe. It goes by Tempe Marketplace. It goes by Sloan Park, Cup Spring Training, Riverview, Mesa Riverview Shopping. It then turns south on Dobson and goes down towards Main Street, where there will be a strong, excuse me, a strong connection with the light rail. The bottom right portion is a future streetcar extension that's just shown for reference. So the item before you today is the approval of the locally preferred alternative, which would determine the mode as streetcar and the route that I just described. And the recommendation is here before you, Mr. Chair.
Perfect. Thank you. Any questions or comments on here?
This is Jennifer. We're just really super excited about this project going forward, and it makes a lot of sense. So I'm looking forward to having it come into fruition.
Thank you. Yeah, no, us too in Mesa. I think it would be an important aspect to our communities connecting together. Tempe Mesa here. I would like to comment just to put it out there. I know we've had discussions, but as far as the benefits of this project, and we had a robust discussion in the city of Mesa, how we can highlight those benefits, our writers, the information that our consultants are gathering through the various studies and previous studies. I think it will be important to make sure our residents and our stakeholders receive this information as much as possible as we move forward with this project. So we're excited, but I know we have a lot of work to do still.
So I move up,
So
I
we-
make a motion.
Yeah, so request a motion and a second. So motion by Councilmember Pastor, second by,
Second by Jennifer.
all right, by Councilmember Adams. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes. Thank you. We'll move on to item number 3, South Central Extension Downtown Hub Project Design Services Contract Authority. So I'll pass it over to Jessica to introduce this item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This item is to request additional contract authority for our design services contract for South Central Extension in Downtown Hub. This is a contract currently held by AECom. It has been modified a few times over the course of the contract life cycle to reflect the contract entering the next stage of design services. And again, this is South Central Extension. I do hope that this is the last extension of this particular contract as we are heading toward opening, as we discussed earlier in spring 2025. Mr. Collin.
Thank you. Thank you, Jessica. Mr. Chair, members of the board, AECom has provided the full design services along with multiple subconsultants for the South Central project. They also provide design services during construction. In addition, there are things that come up during the project when it's in construction that we do augment the design. Some of those are a Third Avenue operator restroom. After we did a concept of operations, we determined that key need for that restroom and break facility. Also, we're looking at doing architectural lighting enhancements of the Salt River Bridge that weren't originally anticipated. So with this action, we're requesting $1.1 million in additional expenditure authority for the design contract we have with AECom. Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any committee members have any questions or comments?
I have a question
Yes.
on the Salt River Bridge. In that design, at least I'm not sure if it's been designed,
Yeah, it
but
has.
okay.
Yeah, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
In that design, because I'm seeing lighting,
Yes.
I'm thinking about Christmas and other, make it purple or, blue, or will we be able to do that?
Mr. Chair, Madam Pastor, yes, we will
Okay.
be able to.
I wanted to make
It
sure.
is programmable.
Okay,
It's got all kinds of options.
thank you.
Yep.
I move item number 3.
I
Perfect.
second.
We have a motion and a second by Councilmember Adams. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes. We'll move on to item number 4, South Central Extension Downtown Hub Construction Manager at Risk, additional contract authority. I'll pass it over to Jessica.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This item is really a companion to the item the board just heard. This is an extension and additional contract authority for a construction manager at risk contract, which we hold with Kiewit. Mr. Collin will review the history of that contract and a little bit of the items that we aim to address with this extension, including scope that was not originally included in the project, like the Salt River Bridge, lighting enhancements. He mentioned the operator facility and restroom. We also have some sewer and irrigation additions that were not included in initial scope. And we have just completed a change order on schedule recovery and resolution that helps us put that fine point on the completion date for the project. This would be included within this change order, Mr. Chair. Mr. Collin.
Thank you, Jessica. Mr. Chair, members of the board. For this contract's with Kiewit Construction. It's for construction manager at risk or construction services. We are requesting an increase to the contract expenditure by a little over $76 million. Among the scope adds, we also, as Jessica mentioned, just over the holidays, reached a settlement on a lot of schedule inefficiency-driven items that look both backward and forward to bringing this project by the May 30th date that we're working under contractually. In addition, some of those scope adds, I mentioned the design contract. This would be the construction portion of those improvements. With that, the recommendations before Mr. Chair and the board.
All right. Any other questions, comments? All right. Request a motion and a second to authorize the CEO to provide additional contract authority for SEDH CMAR contract with Kiewit for aggregate amount of over $76,588,501 to complete additional construction scope in the project.
I so
So
move.
moved.
Second.
All right. All right, Councilmember Pastor moved, Councilmember Adams second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, motion passes. Thank you. Move on to item number 5, report on current events and future agenda items. Anything else you would like to add, committee members?
I guess the same item
All
I stated in the earlier, so I just want to make sure we capture it.
Perfect. Yep. All right, perfect. Thank you. We'll move on to item number 6. Next meeting will be Thursday, February 20th. Thank you, everybody.